In this video, I'm going to talk about this book by Michael Gerber, E-Myth. And this book talks about why most small businesses won't work. Though it applies to the American market, in my experience, the same struggles the small businesses have in America is similar to the struggles that we're having here. That makes it very difficult for the small businesses to grow. And this is what I learned from this book. What I learned was that there's a difference between a technician, a manager, and an entrepreneur. And in our business, in our small businesses, we always start our small businesses as technicians. By this, these are we open businesses because we have the skills. For example, I know how to braid, I'll open a salon. I know bookkeeping, I'll start a business in bookkeeping, and so on and so forth. So when you look at it, what I would like to ask, are you any of this? Are you a technician, or are you a manager, or are you an entrepreneur? But when you're running a business, for a business to grow, for you not to be entangled in your business, you have to have all these three. So let me give you the takeaways that I got from this book. And basically, this book image refers to a business lady called Sarah who opened a pie shop. And I'm going to break down what we mean by a technician, a manager, and an entrepreneur. Then we'll go through what Sarah went through for it to make it very difficult for her to make the business grow. So in image, an entrepreneur is somebody who seeks opportunities and turns them into a business. And the manager puts things in order. A technician is the doer. But here, Sarah was a technician. She knew how to bake pies, which she learned from her grandmother. So she decided that since she was good in baking pies, she would start a pie bakery shop and and run it to success. But as you see, this never worked because Sarah got overwhelmed and she was running the business, but she was overwhelmed. She actually employed an accountant. She had two employees, but at the end of the day, she would do most of the work. And that was an accountant and somebody to clean and manage the shop as she was taking care of the pies, baking the pies. But at the end of the day, she would still wake up early and ensure that everything was in order. So far, she had these two staff, but she was still doing more work than she could possibly handle. And she got overwhelmed and frustrated. And she was wondering why, even after employing the two employees, things were not improving because she came into the business as a technician. She was the doer. And this led to stagnation of the business. So when she reached out to Michael Garber, she was wondering whether she would close shop or just do away with her employees and continue running the business on her own. And that is where Michael or Mr. Garber came in and started to help her streamline and look at what really went wrong. And that is what happens to most of our businesses. We usually go in, we go in as doers. We find I'm skilled in bookkeeping. Maybe I was doing bookkeeping in my previous work and I'm coming out of there knowing that now I'm going to start my business and I'll be my own boss. I will not be pushed around by somebody else. And at the end of the day, when I come to this business, I do more work than what I was doing from the 8 to 5 work. So at the end of the day, the time that I wanted to save, the freedom that I wanted, it doesn't, the freedom that I wanted by starting my own business never comes to be. So this is what Sarah was taken through. And then she was taken through how to start the systems that can help her be able to build up an organizational chart so that she'll be able to relieve some of the duties to the employees that she'll bring in. At the end of the day, she had to let go the two employees and start from zero. Start from zero by building an organogram first, putting in the operations that are necessary for her business. Because there are basic operations that are they are basic, what do you call it? They are basic operations that happen in the business. That is a commonality in all businesses. One, marketing. Two, sales. Three, operations or production. And four, the financial aspect. So she has to build up the organogram of the organizational chart and putting somebody in all those slots. If she's the one who is doing all this, if the one who is doing marketing, she'll put her name in marketing. If she's the one who she'll put her name in sales. If she's the one who is doing finance, she puts her name there. If she's the one who is doing the operations or the baking, she'll put her name there. Then if she needs to put in, she had to go back to herself, reflect, and look at the steps that she was doing to handle these positions so that by the time she's bringing in somebody to handle a position, to release a position to somebody, she's already known what steps are being handled there, and then she can hand over that position to somebody else. And this will help her reduce her work one step at a time. And this helped her in the long run because she was able to hand over these positions to other people systematically. And she was able now to look at the business from the outer view rather than being inside. And this helped her grow her business. So if you go through this book, especially when you are starting a business, it will give you an eye opener on what you can do to really make your business grow without being that technician who is doing everything in the business. You learn how to manage, to put things in order as a manager, and you'll also be able to train other people to be doers like you and relinquish this position to other people as long as you take them through the same system, that the same processes, the way you are doing them, just the way the grandmother taught her how to bake, she can also transfer it to somebody else who would do it the same way. And this helped Sarah to grow, and she was able to see things from a different angle. So if you are starting a business, if you read E-Myth by Michael Gerber, I think there are newer versions of this. This is an older version, but I always refer to it when I'm missing, when I want to work on some things in my business. So I believe this will help you to work on your business.